If you can walk into a room and just instantly feel that something's off, that might actually say more about your nervous system than your personality. You're not just sensitive. You might be someone whose brain learned to scan everything. People's moods, the hidden tension, all the tiny little changes, before you even realize you're doing it. And the strange part is, this awareness can protect you, while also quietly draining you. So Emma used to think she was just overthinking everything. She'd leave a totally normal conversation and then replay one pause, one facial expression, one tiny shift in tone for hours afterward. She kept telling herself to just relax. But yeah, that never really worked. What finally helped was realizing her brain wasn't broken. It was just trained to scan for meaning. And once she understood that, she stopped blaming herself and started learning how to carry less. So today, we're going to unpack the psychology of people who are too aware. And not the romantic version, where, you're just an old soul who understands everyone. I mean the real version, the exhausting version, the one where your mind notices too much, feels too much, predicts too much, and then you sit there wondering why you're tired even when nothing obvious actually happened. And there are 5 layers to this. Each one explains a different part of why you notice what others miss, why simple moments can feel so heavy, and why the solution isn't becoming less aware. It's actually learning what to stop carrying. So the first layer is heightened sensory processing. Some people just naturally take in more information from their environment. Their brain doesn't filter the world in that soft, blurry way. It lets way more details through. The hum of the lights, the shift in someone's posture, that slight coldness in a text message, the forced smile that disappears half a second too soon. To someone else, these things are just background noise. To you, they kind of arrive as signals. And this is why social situations can feel strangely intense. You're not just hearing words. You're hearing tone. You're watching the timing. You're reading the space between sentences. Someone says, "I'm fine." And everyone else just moves on, but you heard that tiny pause before it. You saw the way their face tightened up. You felt the emotional weather change. And then comes the kind of painful part. You can't always do anything with what you notice. You can't just say, "Hey, actually, your smile looked slightly delayed, and your voice changed when you mentioned that person." Because, that would sound invasive. So you just sit there carrying information no one ever gave you permission to have. And honestly, that's one of the loneliest parts of being too aware. You're often watching a performance that everyone else is just accepting as reality. Now, the second layer is pattern recognition. Your brain is constantly asking, okay, what does this mean next? It compares what's happening right now with what's happened before. So, if someone's behavior changes even slightly, your mind doesn't just ignore it. It starts building a map. Why did they reply differently today? Why was their voice flatter than usual? Why did the room feel tense before anyone even said anything? And this is where people kind of misunderstand you. They might call you anxious or dramatic or too sensitive. But on the inside, it doesn't feel like imagination at all. It feels like data. Your mind has seen enough small signals turn into bigger problems that it just starts detecting the storm before the rain even arrives. And this can be useful. You might sense when a conversation is about to turn uncomfortable. You might notice when someone's hiding stress. You might pick up on a relationship changing before anyone actually admits it. But the cost is that you start reacting to things that haven't fully even happened yet. You're kind of living slightly ahead of the moment. While other people are inside the conversation, you're also tracking where it could go. While they're relaxing, your mind is already preparing. And even when you're right, it still drains you because, prediction takes energy. The third layer is hyper self-awareness. This is when your awareness kind of turns inward. You don't just notice other people. You notice yourself noticing them. You hear your own voice while you're speaking. You're monitoring your facial expressions. You wonder if your laugh sounded natural. You're replaying the sentence you just said while the conversation is still happening. It's almost like having a second tab open in your brain. One part of you is living. The other part is watching you live. You might be laughing with a friend and suddenly you think, wait, was that too loud? Then you become a little quieter. Then you notice you became quieter. Then you wonder if they notice the change. And now, instead of actually enjoying the moment, you're like 3 layers deep inside your own mind. And this is why people who are too aware often look calm, but feel mentally crowded. They're not just dealing with the world, they're dealing with the world, their reaction to the world, and then their judgment of that reaction. That's exhausting. And hey, if this is already sounding really familiar, go ahead and subscribe to the channel because we explore these hidden patterns of the human mind in a way that helps you understand yourself without making you feel broken. Okay, so the fourth layer is rumination. Rumination is basically what happens when awareness gets stuck in a loop. A conversation ends, but your mind doesn't. A text gets answered, but your brain keeps rereading it. A small silence happened at lunch, and 3 hours later, you're still sitting there asking, was that weird? Did I say something wrong? Did they mean something by that? And the tricky thing is, rumination feels like problem solving, but it usually isn't. Problem solving actually moves forward. Rumination just walks in circles, wearing a very serious face. And for people who are too aware, this loop can feel almost impossible to escape because the mind believes it's being responsible. It tells you, I'm just trying to understand. But sometimes understanding becomes a trap. Sometimes the search for meaning creates more pain than the actual moment itself. A delayed reply might simply be a delayed reply. A quiet tone might just be tiredness. A strange mood might have nothing to do with you at all. But when your brain is trained to scan for hidden meaning, simple things rarely get to stay simple. The fifth layer is emotional absorption. This is where awareness kind of becomes physical. You don't just notice someone's anxiety. You feel it in your body. You don't just understand that a friend is sad. You leave the conversation actually carrying some of that sadness with you. You walk into a tense room and your chest tightens before anyone's even explained why. And this is why social environments can drain you even when nothing bad happens. A loud room, multiple conversations, bright lights, shifting moods, everyone's energy moving at once. Your nervous system is just taking in too much. And what looks like introversion might actually be recovery. You might need silence after being around people. Not because you dislike people, but because your mind just needs a break from processing them. Dark rooms, quiet walks, headphones, solitude. These aren't signs that you're antisocial. They might just be how your nervous system resets. So, what do you actually do with all of this? The answer isn't to become numb, and it's not to shame yourself for noticing either. Asking a highly aware person to stop noticing is kind of like asking someone with sharp vision to just see blurry. The shift is this: stop turning every signal into your responsibility. So first, use the 5-second filter. When you notice something, pause before you pick it up emotionally. Someone seems upset. Okay, you can notice that. But you don't have to become their emotional manager. A coworker feels tense. You can observe that. But you don't have to solve it. A friend's mood changes. You can care without absorbing, notice it, name it, let it stay theirs. Second, translate the signal. When your body reacts, don't immediately call it danger. Call it information. Your nervous system just detected something. That doesn't automatically mean something's wrong. It just means your brain is doing what it learned to do. You can say, okay, I'm noticing tension, not something terrible is about to happen. You can say, my body picked up a signal, not this is my problem to fix. That small difference actually matters a lot. Third, schedule sensory resets. Highly aware people tend to wait until they're completely overwhelmed before they rest. But your nervous system needs maintenance before it crashes. Silence is not laziness. Solitude isn't avoidance. Stillness isn't wasted time. You need places where nothing is asking to be interpreted. No people to read. No mood to manage. No hidden meaning to decode. Just quiet. And finally, hold your awareness loosely. This is honestly maybe the most important part. Being aware doesn't always mean being right. You can notice a tone and misread it. You can sense tension and misunderstand the source. You can catch a pattern and still build the wrong story around it. Awareness only really becomes wisdom when it stays curious. So instead of saying, I know what this means, try, okay, I noticed something. Let me stay open. That keeps your perception from turning into a prison. Because the deeper truth is this: people who are too aware aren't broken. They're often just carrying a mind that learned to protect them by noticing everything. For some, it was always part of their sensitivity. For others, it came from environments where reading the room kind of felt necessary. Either way, the awareness became a shield. But a shield is heavy when you're carrying it everywhere. The payoff isn't learning how to stop being aware. The payoff is learning that every signal doesn't need to become a story. Every emotion doesn't need to become yours. And every silence doesn't need to be solved. You can still see deeply without drowning in what you see. You can still feel the room without being pulled into its current. You can still understand people without abandoning yourself. And that's what people miss about being too aware. It's not just a gift and it's not just a burden. It's a form of perception that needs boundaries. When awareness is ruled by fear, it becomes hypervigilance. But when awareness is softened by acceptance, it becomes wisdom. So next time you notice the pause, the shift, the hidden tension, that thing no one else seems to see, just remember this: noticing isn't the same as carrying. You're allowed to see it and still let it pass. You're allowed to understand more than you explain. You're allowed to be aware without being responsible for everything your awareness reveals. If this video helped you understand yourself a little more, go subscribe for more videos like this. And let me know in the comments, what's one thing you notice about people that most others seem to miss?